We have just begun the month, and of course, welcome back from the weekend at the same time. Hope you had a great weekend. How was it? Personally, I had a great one with quite a lot of events taking place, and I also officially welcome you to the SMB News Recap as we go through the day's previous news stories that made headlines into the world of business. And this time around, we are going to start with human trafficking, as quite a lot of young men and women are being trafficked into the United Arab Emirates and other related countries that are sold into slavery, and also the ladies sold into prostitution. Let's have the details of this report.
Ugandans lack social welfare programs, high-quality work prospects, and educational institutions. Young Ugandans who reside in rural and disadvantaged areas are particularly vulnerable to exploitation because they lack access to resources and opportunities.
Uganda is one of the source, transit route, and destination countries for women, children, and men subjected to human trafficking, a new form of slavery.
And I realize some of these people just don't know what they're going into, and when they get there, they realize they're already slaves and they can no longer change it. So,
according to a report from the Ministry of Internal Affairs Coordination Office for Prevention of Trafficking Persons, there were 96.7% more incidences in human trafficking in Uganda in the year 2021. These cases increased from 214 in 2020 to 421 in the previous year. According to the report, transnational occurrences comprised of 26.84% of all incidences, while internal trafficking incidences accounted for 66.03% of all cases. 30 cases of suspected trafficking remained unreported. However, the government is making a concerted effort to address the problem of human trafficking, and according to the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, several bills are in the works and waiting to be presented to the Cabinet, one of which calls for luring in more investors to help close the unemployment gap.
In this circumstance, government has analyzed all the routes that are being taken by traffickers, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs has taken a paper in cabinet, but has also made proposals together with us in the Ministry of Gender to have a robust monitoring system at the airport to make sure that those who are going to be traveling, especially to the Middle East, if we find out that you are a girl between 21 years to 40 years and you are going by visitor's visa or tourist visa, and you cannot account for any job that you are doing there, you are first-time travelers, we are going to bring a regulation to make sure that the immigration officer will deny you passing through the Entebbe airport, because that is the major traffic point. Design a robust mechanism to receive complaints through the online system, through 24-hour call center, but also we are employing lawyers who are themselves Arabs, who know Sharia law, who the law permits them to access the homes where the girls are. And we shall give the girls the 24-hour call center. We'll give them the numbers of their lawyers, the number of our labor touches and workers in ambassador and our ambassador and embassy staff, so that you can be able to call when you are in distress and you can be easily rescued through the legal process.
Persistent poverty and high levels of unemployment are the key factors that thrust Ugandans into the arms of human traffickers, with Middle East being the notorious destination. Monica Nabyonga, Smart 24 TV.
That's regarding human trafficking, and of course this is quite a very globally done businesses that actually contains billions and billions. Quite a number of children are being trafficked across countries, not only just in Uganda but also other countries across across the globe, and in so many, South America, Europe, and so many. You will be surprised when you check out reports regarding how majority of the people actually are making money. This kind of evil business, what I can say illegal business, has generated quite a number of billionaires in the country, but it's quite very sad that majority of the affected personnel actually are the ladies. So you can see how extremely dangerous that is, most especially to the females. That's potential labor that is being put out there, exploited in the wrong way, which could be a very potential source of revenue if it stayed within the country and actually it's being utilized within. But that's quite a disadvantage right there. And now let's cross over to the Uganda Railways Corporation as it announces a new committee which was inaugurated by the Minister of Works and Transportation, that's General Edward Katumba Wamala. I'll be back to share more light on this. Let's have the report.
Pending payments of Uganda Railways. We have always said, Honorable Minister, we do not want to continue appearing as spoiled children asking for more. I think what we are asking is payment for some of our assets, especially the Zambia land, approximately 70 billion. If we can get 70 billion, we would be clearly well capitalized internally, although this was on a disposal of an asset, and then we should be able to manage a couple of things with the funding of CAPEX that has already been approved.
Government policy is really to promote the railway transport as an efficient, low-cost, long-distance carrier of bulk goods, particularly carriage of the imports and exports of Uganda. The other day I was just briefing Cabinet and saying, Cabinet, you have made a decision and we have made a commitment to Ugandans that we are going to export 21 million bags of coffee. And I said, how will you transport 21 million bags of coffee if you are going to rely on road transport? Good enough. The chairman of the board of URC was in coffee and he knows about the challenges which you can have transporting 21 million bags of coffee by road. It will be a nightmare. And the one way we can solve that is to have the railway functional and fully functional. And government appreciates that. Government understands that. The president, I think if you have been hearing him, time and again, he has never given a State of Nation address or talk, and he doesn't talk about the railway.
That's the Uganda Railways Corporation announcing a new committee, and of course, according to the report, the new Uganda Railways Corporation Committee on Flying Civil Aviation Academy that were inaugurated by the Minister of Works, that's General Edward Katumba Wamala. Huntington Karuhanga, the new chairwoman of the Uganda Railways Corporation, requested that the minister consult with the Minister of Finance over the payment of the outstanding debt related to the nation's railways and assets, particularly in Zambia land, which costs that's 70 billion Ugandan shillings. That's to manage. Of course, that's regarding the Uganda Railways Corporation as they announce a new committee. And now let's cross over to the stranded Ugandans in the United Arab Emirates, as recently a majority were into the detention centers, but they have been pardoned by the government of the United Arab Emirates. But however, the government of Uganda is under preparations to bring them back home. Let's have the details of this report.
Through our embassy, had a very humanitarian offer from the government of UAE to give tickets to all Ugandans who are stranded in UAE and would like to come back to Uganda. And they will be given free tickets to to come back. At the moment, they are being registered by the government of UAE, of course, with close collaboration with our embassy, and the registration is being undertaken in a place called Al Awil Immigration Center.
The shadow minister, who arrived well prepared with photographic proof and recordings documenting his meetings with the stranded Ugandans in the UAE, has informed journalists that Minister Amongi has never visited Al Awil Detention Center or any UAE detention center. Therefore, she has no credible knowledge on what she's talking about.
Put it on record that the alleged gender minister who appeared to address the press on the affairs of Uganda nationals in the UAE has not visited United Arab Emirates, has not visited Al Awil prison, treated her as a rumor monger. And it is tried diplomatic principles that a country like United Arab Emirates communicates through diplomatic notices, be it a verbal or written note. I want to challenge the gender minister to produce a verbal or written diplomatic note communicating the position of UAE on the fate of Ugandan nationals detained specifically in Al Awil prison and those stranded on the streets.
According to Nkunyinji, the Uganda ambassador in the UAE and Al Awil prison authorities denied knowledge of any program to freely repatriate Uganda nationals.
I questioned him on any available measure of repatriating these Ugandan nationals for free who are detained in Al Awil prison. The ambassador and the embassy briefed me. They have no official communication from the government of UAE. This was a photo we took as we left the meeting. I have so many of the meeting photos, among others. So the embassy was not aware of official communication from UAE regarding repatriating for free those in detention. The only position the embassy provided me is that there is another category of 1,000 Ugandans who are detained in another prison and other prisons within UAE, who the embassy had applied for a pardon. And I was briefed that the government of United Arab Emirates normally offer pardon during the fasting period of Ramadan and on Eid festivals.
Nkunyinji adds that there are about 3,000 Ugandans imprisoned in Al Awil prison, but only approximately 100 of them have passports that are still valid. This makes it difficult for those Ugandans to leave their country because a passport costs about 250 shillings, which many of them lack.
Requested for a pardon for 1,000 Ugandan nationals. The government of UAE only pardoned the 60 Uganda nationals out of a list of 1,000 presented by our embassy. That was the position I got from the embassy. And when I visited the consulate which was established in Dubai, which is near Al Awil prison, I did not find the deputy ambassador who was posted there. That gentleman called Maiga. He was never there. I went there 4 times at the embassy. The challenge is for those without passports, they are required to have and secure an emergency travel document, which unfortunately is also issued at a fee. You pay around 250,000 Uganda shillings at our embassy to get that emergency travel document, equivalent of a passport. It's a one-way. By Ugandan laws, it requires to be paid for. Now, these are nationals who are detained with no single coin. They have no money. And that's why they are in prison. Secondly, and to substantiate the status of the numbers of these nationals, the prison authorities only count as Ugandans those who were detained holding or in possession of Uganda passports. All of those whose passports were confiscated by travel agents and those dealers are not branded Ugandans. And under international law, they cannot be deported to Uganda.
The Member of Parliament encouraged the government of Uganda to find means to repatriate these Ugandan citizens from Al Awil prison, as well as to continue the externalization of labor and make it easier for all Ugandans living abroad to get immigration support.
Want the labor agreement between Uganda and UAE to be made public. The beneficiaries are these externalized laborers and workers but the labor agreement between Uganda and UAE has been has been hidden for a while now. We even hear that some of these fake agents are the ones being nominated by the Minister of Gender to represent Uganda in the enforcement of the labor agreement between Uganda and UAE. We want it public, and we want the names of those nominated publicized. And also want the government to come out strongly and repatriate these Uganda nationals, because we have an airline.
Omukazi naye abakazi basula wali eri nsonda mwekolama mulimu ne mweyawula abakazi ko basula wali nsonda era ffenna tulina omulimu ekiro omukuffe alina ozukka n'ayitamu.
With all that has been said, we now turn our eyes to the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development on how it is going to repatriate Ugandans from the UAE. Desire Nambiru, Smart 24 TV.
That's regarding the Ugandans that are stuck into the United Arab Emirates, and of course these went to seek what we call the greener pastures. And according to the report here, the United Arab Emirates government has pardoned about several Ugandans were imprisoned in Dubai detention camps, and attempts to have them returned home are in progress. Of course, the country's Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, that's Honorable Betty Amongi, informed the Ugandans regarding that matter. However, the Shadow Minister, that's for Foreign Affairs, that's Honorable Mwada Nkunyinji, visited the United Arab Emirates, that's from August 15th to 21st, and has disputed the minister's assertion of calling it a false, because there is no such an agreement with the United Arab Emirates. And let's wind up the recap with the national guidance policy that's on national service that will include students who have finished high school and university to serve government for 6 months. Let's have the details of this report.
Drafting the national guidance policy, and we are in the final stages of consultations, and there are many proposals embedded in this policy, and one of them that you are raising, that there is a proposal that young people should be subjected to a national youth service. You recall at one point in this country, we used to take young people who have completed senior 6 to Changwanzi to basically take you through issues of ideology or ideological orientation as you enter university. There are many countries which take young people for national youth service for a period of time. So it's a proposal which has come in the process of consultation, and we are seeing it's a positive proposal. We need to mobilize resources and support our young people to go for national youth service. That helps our young people to get shaped to appreciate their country and also to serve their country. Yes, it's one of the proposals which is contained in the national youth policy. It's actually done in other countries where young people are required to provide a service where, for instance, in some countries, they require young people to serve in the army for a period of time before they can get employed in the main civil service. There are many ways of doing it, but basically the purpose is to get an opportunity to take the young people through orientation, to be oriented, to appreciate the country, to learn issues like patriotism, to change the mindset of the young people. Because the way now we see the situation in the country, yes, we go through the school system, although we have introduced patriotic clubs in the schools, but they are not yet strong. And therefore, young people go through the school system, but even those who don't go through the school system, they don't appreciate love for their country. So it's an effort to mobilize the young people to have a proper ideological orientation and to appreciate themselves as Ugandans and to shape our mindset so that collectively as young people we know this is our country and we should be able to work for it and improve the quality of life of Ugandans as we mature into adulthood, as we leave universities and schools to go and work. So basically that's the purpose of the National Youth Service. This is something very positive, and where it is part of the programs in those countries, it is very productive and it yields results in terms of helping the youth to have a better mindset.
That's regarding the national policy that's on the national service. And of course, it will include the students that have completed the university and high school to get a chance to serve in government for 6 months or even a year. And this is aimed to develop the spirit of patriotism and the love for the country, Uganda. That's it for the news recap. And let's get into a short commercial break. We'll return with the press review, the international news, and wind up the hour with the business awards and tips. Good morning. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business. Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs.